Greetings, Gravity Falls fans. It is Chad here from Lou Tunes for the foreseeable last time that we may be talking about Gravity Falls here on the channel. I'm sure I'll be bringing it up in future countdowns, and there will be probably a few videos here and there having to do with it down the road, I'm sure, but by and large, this will kind of be the last one. Of course, last night we had the finale, hour-long finale, Weirdmageddon Part 3 airing. I know I saw a lot of you guys tweeting about it to me, and it was just a really cool event. I felt like for the first time that sort of staggered airing schedule of Gravity Falls, it kind of actually helped to really build the hype for that final episode. So that was fun. I'm just going to be talking a little bit off the cuff about the episode, my impressions, what I liked, what I didn't like, all that stuff. Might be a little bit long-winded, but that's the last episode and the last Gravity Falls coverage on my channel, so why not? Should go without saying, if you haven't seen the finale or any of the other Gravity Falls episodes, that there's going to be plenty of spoilers, of course. And if you haven't seen any Gravity Falls episodes, well then, why the heck are you listening to this? Okay, well, let's get in and let's talk about it. So, overall, I really just loved this episode, and that has a lot to do with ending the series on a great note, which has proven to be pretty difficult for television shows. It's not even like this would be like my favorite episode ever. In fact, I don't really know where I would even place this one on my top 10 list of episodes, or if it would even be on it. That probably sounds like a weird thing to say, and we will talk about the specific events of the episode, but I'm just going to talk about my overall impression of it first. I had a lot of hype for the episode, wanting to see all of these characters get their storylines wrapped up, wanting to see certain twists or certain reveals, and wanting to see all of this stuff. And as I, clicked on the episode and hit that first commercial break, realizing we were already like 7 minutes in or something like that, and the time was kind of chipping down, I realized the episode had to be more about the main core characters. It had to be about Dipper and Mabel and Ford and Stan kind of wrapping their story up. Even though they already kind of had it, had to be about that and just kind of concluding the summer. And it really couldn't be about strange side characters returning or shippings or introducing new characters. It really couldn't be about that in order to be a great finale episode. So, in a sense, I was disappointed because I was hoping for like a mind-blowing reveal or something, and there were some kind of things like that. But when I look at it as a total package of an episode and just the feeling that it gives, especially when I think about other shows' final episodes, I really realize how much I actually am not that disappointed, and it's smarter on their side to really do what they did instead of introducing a bunch of crazy new stuff. Because you want to leave feeling whole and not empty with a bunch of questions. So I kind of realize how awesome of an episode it actually is in that regard. And so many people were tweeting to me saying how they cried and all of this. And the truth is, this is the first time that I've teared up. I mean, I wasn't like weeping, but this is the first time like I teared up since I watched the finale of Lost, watching a TV show. Of course, a lot of that has to do with just the fact that it's going to be gone, along with the actual emotional parts of it. And it didn't really get me, actually, until they were standing at the bus stop. So when I just think back on the episode and treating it as a final episode, I really loved it in that regard. And I think the concluding story for Ford and Stan and Mabel and Dipper, it really just wraps up perfectly. And that ending monologue from Dipper was just perfect, giving like the audience that challenge to go out and have your adventure. That was really cool. I just want to kind of go through and pop through some of the main events of the episode and talk through some of that. So let's rewind a bit and got a little mini list here. So the crew all rallied up in the shack. That was where we met them back, and that was really cool because you kind of get that unicorn hair payoff thing with the barrier to the Mystery Shack, and then they turn the Mystery Shack into like a Megas XLR robot, and that whole fight scene was really cool, very well animated, and I love when Gravity Falls gets a chance to do a little bit of action. that was a really key thing for me in just feeling the closure of the series, because having the citizens kind of unite to go and rescue Ford and all of their family members, that's kind of where you get the payoff for a lot of the other characters. Because it's really a smart way to kind of bring back some of those other characters. They had the boy band, they had Humble McSkirmish, and they really kind of paid off each and every character. They took a good amount of time to, even the really small characters, just the random citizens got some small payoffs, and I thought that was really cool. I was really bummed not to see Blendon come in towards the end. I thought he was the source of the barrier. I'll talk about that in a second. But, well, I guess I can just talk about that right now. I was a little bit bummed out not to see Blendon return, because not only did he not really get too much of an ending, and his whole, like, community of people are, like, slaughtered, which is alright. I don't really care about them too much. The explanation for that bubble keeping Bill and all of his minions inside Gravity Falls, if there was one thing that I was not too pleased with, it's probably the explanation of that. I guess it was just kind of the inherent weirdness of Gravity Falls was sort of keeping everything drawn to it and trapped in somehow. That was not entirely clear to me, but I didn't love that as an explanation. I was hoping the bubble would be the source of some mind-blowing reveal, and that really never came, but I really don't care too much about that, because once the episode got to the second half, they sort of wrapped it back around and kind of like remind you what the show is actually about, which is family and kind of these relationships with siblings. And that was kind of cool, and I feel like I sort of had like my fan mind like smashed with a frying pan, just to be like reminded that the show's not about all of the mysteries and twists and things like that. It is at the core about those family members, and I think it paid off, personally. I don't need to summarize the episode because you all know what happens, but I kind of have abandoned my plot points here. But we can fast forward to Ford and Stan flipping clothes and tricking Bill into going into his mind so that they can erase his memory while he's inside it, which is just like a really cool like scheme. That's like, it seems like it's from like a heist movie or something. So that was really cool, and it gives you these just heart-wrenching moments of Stan kind of stepping up after being kind of the also-ran to Ford, and they have some really interesting kind of brotherly issues within this episode in the heat of some really important moments, like when they're doing the Zodiac thing, which, by the way, was really cool to bring the Zodiac back finally in the end and sort of pay that off. Very cool. That was like Chill's moment for sure. But even during that intense moment, they couldn't quite get along as brothers, and they had such a strong finish to their story that a big twist or like revealing the Pines' parents or anything like that really wouldn't have had the same gravity. It really would have had the same, weight to it that that all the stuff that did happen had. Like when they had to erase Stan's mind, which was like the crux of the episode for me. I mean, that was just so heart-wrenching, thinking that he might never remember them ever again. Of course, he does get the memories back, and no, Pines' character really did die in the end, because I thought it would be Stanley Pines losing his memory would kind of represent a death in a certain way, just to pay off that riddle. But even still, just the twins dealing with that, Dipper and Mabel, and the older twins dealing with him being gone, it was just really well done. It's like they didn't really need some crazy twist, kind of just stuck with what they had. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was just a really perfect way to send those four main characters off. And to get to like the next set of main characters, Seuss getting to take control of the Mystery Shack was awesome. He had some really cool moments in the past few episodes, but I think one of my favorite moments in Gravity Falls past like last chain of episodes was Seuss teaching McGucket what anime was, and then he's showing it to him during the montage, and he's just like taking notes. I loved that. I was super stoked to see all the payoffs for McGucket, how he sold all of his inventions and got super rich, buys the Northwest Mansion. That stuff was all great. McGucket's one of my favorite characters from the series. Man, I'm just rambling here, but that's okay, guys. I'm almost wrapping it up. So let's see. And I think most others will agree that like the scene that just really just feels just are so real is them just stepping onto the bus and Mabel possibly having to say goodbye to Waddles. That was kind of like sneakily sad because I didn't even consider that Mabel would have to leave Waddles behind. So I was glad to see he got to go with them back to California, and the reveal of what their city was called. That whole last bit was just so perfect. It was just like the ending of a really good movie with the credits and, the cute little song and the sort of little snippets of kind of what the characters did next was really cool. It just kind of left me with a good feeling. Even though I was sad, it just left me feeling really happy because, truthfully, I was worried that this finale wouldn't deliver on how great the series actually was, because a lot of shows, when they end, leave their entire fan bases just being like, what the hell was that? So it's nice to not have that feeling associated with Gravity Falls. So it felt great to have it end in a great way. That just last bit from Dipper was so cool. Seeing Ford and Stan out on their adventure in the same ship, well, like the successor ship from when they were kids. Seuss, as I said, having the Mystery Shack. Not a huge, great payoff for Wendy, really, but I personally don't really care about that. I saw a lot of people on the internet talking about spin-off series, about, the Pines being back home, the older Pines kind of adventuring outside of Gravity Falls, and for me, I feel like they should just leave it be until the twins come back for another summer and something has happened. I'm definitely not opposed to a spin-off, but I don't think it should take place in California or like out at sea or something like that. But I'd love to know what you guys think about spin-offs or anything like that. I'll try to read and reply to as many comments as I can. I also wanted to address the final codes, which I have no idea what any of those are. I haven't looked any of that up yet. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of, an extra amount of digging for this final episode and codes and what they mean. Because, the very last thing you see at its end, the very last thing you see is that final bit. So I don't doubt there's something very important in there, but it also could just be kind of like a thanks for watching kind of thing. But that's something I'll have to look into. I'm sure you guys will talk about it down in the comments. But, I've been going on for like 17 minutes now. I'm sure I'll edit some out just so it's a little bit shorter for you guys. But those are sort of my initial thoughts. I just saw it last night, sort of stewed over it for a little while, and I've just been really, really happy with the series. I can easily say it's one of my favorite animated series of all time. It's very cool to have it kind of wrapped up in this one piece that you can just buy on Blu-ray probably down the road and just say, look at how awesome this was. And as animation fans, we all know that there's so many shows that are canceled. We don't even get to see their intended finales. So in this case, it's really just like a privilege. And of course, making videos for Gravity Falls has been so much fun. It's been such an interactive bit of subject matter, especially, when it comes to all the codes and stuff and talking about that with you guys, speculating and all of that. So big thank you to you guys for tuning into my videos and just hanging out with me talking about Gravity Falls. It's been so much fun to be a part of this fandom. So I hope you guys have had fun with the videos. I have had so much fun making them, and I hope you stick around for other animated content, talking, reviewing, all of that fun stuff, drawing, of course, on the channel. I really hope you do because, well, I really love having you here, especially you the one listening with the headphones. So thanks again, guys, so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. It's been a pretty long video, but yeah, that's all I got, and I'll see you next time.